more people are coming. All right, we're going to bring out some extra chairs as people make their way in. You guys must think we're going to talk about something kind of important today. All right, as we get settled in, well, good morning, everyone. We're going to get started, but before we do that, today is Anita's 25th birthday. So I'm going to step away from the microphone because nobody wants to hear this. No, not my voice. But we're going to sing happy birthday. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anita. Happy birthday to you. This apparently is my last day of work here, so it's been a pleasure. All right, I know you guys are anxiously awaiting this topic, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Anita Holt forward, and we will get started.
You have the clicker, so I hear birds and phones and things like that, so if you can take a moment and turn them off or silence them, that would be great. All right, and that's helpful. Can everybody hear me in the back? Okay, all right. So the good news is I am not doing my impersonation of Fidel Castro today, so I will not be the person who's talking. But my team is here, and we will go through a variety of things. But I certainly wanted to welcome you to, really as our kickoff, as we are really sliding into the fast action around moving forward to opening up the terraces, and what we are looking forward to and sharing with you over the next coming months. We are right now, where we are is that we are awaiting our certificate of occupancy as well as our substantial completion from construction. Those are two different things. And we've been going through the process, and the inspections are here, and it's Durham, and they come when they schedule or when they don't. And so it's a process, but we are looking pretty much at dates and times that are consistent with our expectation. We are really in the active business now of how do we go about in the various ways of moving on. We know what some of our target dates are, and we wanted to provide today as a general overview. This is not a deep dive into each area of service, but to prepare you and provide you with an overview of what the program will look like, what the next 90 days will look like, and then also set up the expectations so we can follow up with various groups. As a matter of course, this leadership team will be working with each of the committees on the resident association, many of whom have already developed some ways in which they're going to interact and participate in the new community. We're going to kick off through July and August. That our first meeting will be culling together each of those groups individually And when we do that by topic specific, for example, meeting with the Dining Services Committee, then doing 3 coffee and conversations with, around the issue of dining, meeting with a group that's interested in transportation, and then doing 3 coffee and conversations. So the coffee and conversations are meant to be 3 times with a group of 45 or less, you know, depending on who's interested in what. We will do a morning, an afternoon, and an evening, and we will make sure that we record it as well, so it'll be available. I think we said YouTube, but I'm not sure. And so again, keeping that information going. It's the idea that as we move forward, there will be lots of moving parts, lots of different demands, but also at the very same time, we have our ongoing responsibility serving the community that is here right in front of us. The good news is that so many of you have also invited and been very forthcoming and willing to work with us as we move forward to expanding our community and opening up the terraces. So there's going to be lots of opportunities to meet and talk in detail and to do deep dives. Again, today is an overview. I do want to tell you that we are going to do tours beginning August 11th. August 11th, that means we won't have to do hard hat tours when it's 104 degrees. We'll be able to go in. We're expecting our furniture delivery for common areas and spaces on August 2nd, and so that'll be, have that furniture placed and in there. As people talk today, you will also understand the various ways in which we will be inviting many of you, some of you, all of you, or even voluntold some of you to participate as we do various kinds of test runs and soft openings, etc. The most amazing thing about space is, and we learned this, and we learned it also from our peers who've opened buildings, is that when you open a new building, it is everyone thinks if we name it, they know what it is, they know how to use it and what we're going to do. What we have learned is you have to engage people in a way that they learn to use the space as you intended. It doesn't mean it's set in stone. You might find that, you know, in use, something else emerges. And so, but we do want to understand that we're going to use our resident population to soft introduce this building so that you will have first crack at those spaces as we start to open them up and use them and program them in ways so that we know how everything works. And because it takes a minute, you know, you can have the manual, you can have the plug-in, you can know everything, it still takes a minute. I never expect perfection. I do expect process, and that's where we will be. This is an exciting time. It's hard to think of it as exciting because, you know, once a week we sit for 4 hours in a construction and architect meeting. We have seen every inspector in the state of North Carolina. We've looked at our existing program, and in the middle of this, all other business has gone on, whether it's budget development, strategic planning, board management, programs and services. So it's a full plate, but we are delighted that this piece is winding down and coming to actually what is the real fun part, the culmination of a lot of years' work, a lot of input, and many of you were not here when some of those inputs started, but this whole process started with a resident board and staff-driven initiative, part of strategic planning, talking about what we have, what we were building, how it was being built, and there was tremendous amount of input. The reality is this started more than 5 years ago, and this is where we are. So in that process, it's not that things were aerial extracted or we decided we're just going to do this. There was a whole process of people well-matched in a variety of disciplines, residents, future residents, staff, architects, designers, you name it, finance people in the room to get us here. So it didn't jump from the ground fully formed. I am going to stop talking, and I believe April is next, and we're going to guide you through. I ask that you hold questions till the end. We will leave time for questions. Tony is here to record and get that, and if you have a question that we don't get to, let's make sure that Tony gets it so that we can make sure we get it answered. Thank you.
I told Sarah, you're going to be in so much trouble. Well, good morning. If I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you yet, I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing, April Ravelli, and I'm joined by my colleague, Sarah Haney. Director of Community Life, and we're going to walk you through the interior spaces. Now, for some of you, this is probably the 4th or 5th time you have seen this part of the presentation, but also many folks in the room are new, and we want to make sure that everybody understands the amenity spaces that are going to be added when this new building opens. So today you got a handout, and I'm happy to say the PDF will also be on Cubigo, so if you're needing it again or if you want to print it yourself at home, it will be there for you. So we're going to start here. Okay, so raise your hand if you remember the old Skywalk, okay? It was right over here where you're currently fenced off, you're not entering or going through that space where the art studio is on the other side. So that is where the two buildings connect. And so if you're here and you're walking through, it is not a skywalk, it is just a few steps, and you'll find yourself in the resident art gallery. So this was something that we had before. It will be going back up, where folks who take the art classes can display their work. We have little showings and things like that. Then as you continue taking a few steps, the first space that you're going to see on your right is our Carolina room. This is a 3-season room. It has a screened-in area as well as a fireplace that opens to either side. There's some tables and chairs, some soft seating, so you could certainly have a cup of coffee, read your newspaper, meet a friend, whatever you might want to do in that 3 seasons room here. Then when you come out of that space, on either side of the hall, you have some multi-purpose rooms. So here on the right, you have what we call the boardroom. That's a space very similar to the party room. It's going to be held for meetings. It has full AV video capacity. Sure. Thank you. Oh, great. Thank you, Jan. I can't point and talk at the same time. That's ridiculous. All right, so that's the boardroom. Again, a space for like meetings and things like that. It'll have tables and chairs that you can move as you need to. And then on the left side, yep.
I'm trying to get out of their way.
As you're walking towards the bistro, we have the forest room. The forest room is a large room, very similar to the room that you're in right now. It's a very flexible space, so you could use it to hold a lecture or a presentation. It has chairs and seating, tables that you could use. It has very nice proximity to the bistro, so that gives us some flexible space there to use for event spaces, as well as connecting to that terrace garden. Additionally, you could take everything out and have an exercise class in there. So it's got a lot of different flexible uses that we could use that space for, very similar to all the different ways that we use this space here. Rashad, do you want to talk to just for really quickly? I'm not your IT person. The resident marketing committee knows that.
Yeah, so the boardroom, for instance, has a built-in commercial-grade display like the party room has now. It has a hearing loop. Both spaces have a hearing loop, so does the forest room. In the forest room, there is a drop-down screen, and there is also a high-grade projector, just like we have in this current space. So all controlled by a panel, just like you have us right there. Each space is controlled with a panel where you have audio, video controls at hand.
Thank you.
All supported by wireless.
So you'll be able to do streaming. Resident readers could do streaming in those areas as well. Rashad and his team has done a fantastic job over these last years expanding our broadband capabilities and making Wi-Fi accessible everywhere. So we're really excited about those spaces. Then in the red, if you keep coming down the hall, on the left is that bistro dining area. So this is casual seating. It's not reserve your space. It's open all the time. Tables and chairs where you could have some food from the bistro, or maybe you just want to sit and read your paper. There on the right is the mail for the terrace apartments. That's a common question I get, which is, well, where are they going to get their mail? There's no room for mailboxes. we have more mailboxes that we're adding, just as we did with the Small House Health Center. So that's where folks who reside in a terrace apartment will receive their USPS mail as well as their internal mailboxes there. We also have, you see in pink, a reception desk that will be there. Thank you. And so if you walk up that big walkway, that is the entrance into the terrace building on the north side. The north side is the Pickett Road side of our campus. So if you've been here for a few years, you will remember that we had what we called the clinic entrance on that side of campus. This is essentially in the exact same spot as the clinic entrance. Will be the entrance that you can walk in on that ground level, which is the second floor of this new building. Speaking of the clinic, there in blue, our clinic is coming back all together. You won't have to ride an elevator to go to your exam room anymore. I know we're all going to miss that. But it'll all be in one space. I know Lori's excited. And then there in orange, you have sales and marketing is moving over. And then in our light purple, you have human resources. And dark purple, our social workers will be moving over to be more centralized on the campus. Down on the bottom in the yellow is the fitness studio. So the fitness studio is smaller than our current gym. It is meant to be self-directed. You have some cardio machines there, some light weights, a TRX. It's very much meant to come as you want, do the exercise that you want to do on your own, self-directed, and then leave whenever you want. It's not meant to serve as a class space, but instead for someone to be self-directed in that area. Then additionally, we're going to now go. We're done with the pointer. No more pointing. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm walking into the exterior spaces now. So that, again, to recap our interior spaces, we have the Carolina room, the boardroom, forest room. On the third floor, looking out onto the bistro dining, is what we call the Overlook Lounge. So that's an area that will have some soft seating and some gathering space that looks out over that second floor. Additionally, we talked about the fitness studio and the bistro. But we're also adding what I'm most excited about, because I love to be outdoors, are some really beautiful exterior spaces. So the first one that I want to tell you about is the terrace garden. And so that one is here. We used to call it the rooftop garden, and then so many people said, April, it's not on a rooftop. Well, kinda. It's on the roof of the underbuilding parking deck. And so that's where you'll find it. It has proximity to the second floor. And it's a really beautiful space. You can access it both through the bistro dining here and through the forest room. So I really envision really lively social hours taking place here. You have a really nice flow between all three of these spaces. The terrace garden has some seating for dining. So if you're going to get a sandwich and some soup at the bistro and then sit outside at the outdoor dining, it also has a larger, I think it's like an 8 or a 12-person table underneath a covering that's really beautiful. But then also it has a fire pit, so you could do just some casual hanging out. It has lots of different benches and seating and things. So it'll be just another beautiful outdoor space similar to our rose garden to add to our campus. Then the next outdoor space is the sculpture garden. And I'm just going to go back one more time to that map because I want to be sure everybody understands. The sculpture garden actually runs the entire north side of this building. Again, that Pickett Road side. So it runs here, goes underneath this second floor walkway into the terrace building, and then runs over here in between the terrace building and the health center. So one of the biggest questions that I get is, how do I get there? And one person said, well, I can't go down 53 steps. There are 53 steps, in case you didn't know. But of course, there are lots of different ways to get into this garden. And so I want to tell you how to get there from the north side, the south side, and in between. So let's walk from the community center. So if I'm up here, here's Taproot, the library. Here's that main community center entrance. Imagine we're here at the foyer chatting with Hattie, okay? Then we walk down the hall, we pass the gift shop, We wave hello to the volunteer. We pass the living room, and we pass this door here, and we say, whoa, there's a lot of people in that room. And then we keep walking down. Here are those restrooms that'll be reopening soon. Down here is the art studio, but we're not going that far. We're gonna walk into the connector here. We might look at the resident art gallery, and then we're gonna walk through. So this is where we just were on a previous slide. Here's the Carolina room, the boardroom, the forest room. We'll walk through, we'll wave hello to this receptionist, and then we'll hop on the elevator here. This elevator will take you all the way down to level 0, ground floor. And you can walk straight out into the garden. So that's how you would walk there from the community center. On the north side of the campus, you could take the steps. It is a meandering path with little stops along the way in case you want to take a break, read your paper, drink some coffee. But it is 53 steps. You can take those down. Or on the south side of our campus, which is the 15501 space. Oops, sorry. You can actually, if let's say you're walking down from Fountain View Lane and you like to take that loop around the back of the building, there are 2 sidewalks, one here and one over here that you can take. No steps, no elevator needed to get into that garden space as well. What will you find in the sculpture garden? Well, as the name implies, outdoor sculptures. We have some residents that are moving in to the forest who've been members of our off-campus residency, and they are giving us some really beautiful sculptures to place out into that garden, as are some other sculptures that we have on hand. There's also a really beautiful water feature on the health center side of the sculpture garden. It has a little babbling brook, and you can take a little path and walk over it on a little bridge. Agreed, Betsy. And then on the right side, there's another little water feature as well. So it's when you're down in the garden, it feels very expansive, beautiful. You have the covered area that just exists from that second floor walking in, so it's sort of an overhang that you're underneath as well. Lots of seating and tables and things like that. So a really beautiful space to add to our campus. And now, no one really cares to talk about this, but we'll talk about it. We're going to talk about the dining program.
Good morning. I'm Nathan Summers, Director of Community Services. If I have not met you yet, I hope to soon, especially, I was trying not to talk too loud. I can project, so if you can't hear me, just wave and I'll get louder, okay? I'm going to walk you through the next chapter as we prepare ourselves for the future of dining here at the Forest at Duke. We all realize that change brings excitement. It also brings some angst and lots of questions. So I will be giving you a 30,000-foot view to kind of spark some interest and give you an idea of what these venues will be offering. And here we go. I have notes. Heartwood Cafe. The experience is familiar to many of you. It's quick, convenient, and flexible. We won't see a lot of changes there. We will continue to serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner with our current hours, which is 7:30 to 10 for breakfast. Breakfast will move towards an emphasis on a. Did I already mess that up? Do you want to go back to the first slide? No. I'm good. So you're taking that away from me. Okay. I assure you I can open up dining rooms, even if I can't do that. So, We are going to have an emphasis on a written menu and more service-oriented breakfast in Heartwood with expanded options there. Obviously, lunch and dinner. It's dine-in and grab-and-go as we currently enjoy. If you do order alcohol in the Heartwood, nothing will change there. Next slide, please. I'm trying really hard not to look behind me. I hope that says Rosewood. All right. So, dinner only from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. It is weighted service, a la carte. Reservations will be required. Not a lot of changes there. We will enjoy, of course, the same alcohol beverage service. All right, next slide. Something that you're not familiar with, Greenwood's Fresh Cut. To start out, we will serve dinner only from 4:30 to 8:30, Wednesday through Saturday. We'll bring lunch service on at the latest beginning in March of 2026 as we learn how to use that space again. It's been shuttered since primarily the pandemic. It will be weighted service. We will require reservations. The cuisine will be regional American, and that is a broad stroke of what we can do, so don't get wrapped up in that name. We will have an upscale wine and beer service menu, a little different from Taproot. Again, having a flexible dining program to represent the multiple lifestyles of the folks that live here and work here, and who will be creating your experiences. Because at the end of the day, food is food, but food and an experience is something that you take with you. And the next slide. Taproot, very popular. I wonder why. Oh, that's right. You can have any kind of alcoholic beverage you want in there. And Bridget does a really nice job of serving that. So it is dinner only, 5 to 8:30 p.m. And one of the things I want to mention is you'll see some extended times in these projected dining hours to give later diners an option to come a little bit later and stay a little bit later. And we're not shutting the room around you while you're trying to finish up that last drink or enjoy a cup of coffee. We drink a lot of coffee and read newspapers here, if you haven't noticed. I keep hearing that. We will continue with our bar menu type menu items in that room, and of course, it's no reservations. All right, next slide. Let's talk about the bistro. Everybody likes to talk about the bistro. So, it is a dynamic all-day venue. It does have some specialized equipment that gives us the opportunity to do some different things. We have an espresso machine. It is not self-service. It will give us the opportunity to, of course, make espressos, cappuccinos, and specialty drinks using fresh ground coffee. It's quite the high-end machine. Supposedly, I don't need to train a bistro operator. What is that called? A barista. There you go. I tried to get you to interact with me, and they're all about it over here. So we will have the machine is high end, like you see in a lot of hotels, even though it's not self-serve. It does help the barista have consistent drinks and stuff. So we're looking forward to being able to provide that service to the residents. And again, I want to emphasize that dining at the Forest at Duke is for everyone, everywhere, all the time, as long as we're open for business, okay? So don't get wrapped up in the logistics of where something's located. The flexible part of the program is to provide something everywhere depending on what you feel that day. Again, food is very personal. We realize that you may wake up one day and want to eat breakfast in Heartwood, and you may wake up the next day and have an early appointment that you need to get somewhere, so grabbing a breakfast sandwich or something in the bistro would more suit your need, and a cup of that cool espresso coffee as Nathan learns how to use that new machine. It will also have a panini press. which is not exciting on its own. I mean, you can make panini sandwiches, but it does offer a plethora, that's my word of the day, of options for us to do more fun things. And of course, we have a full kitchen behind the counter service, and then also grill. So we have a lot of opportunity to do a lot of flexible things. And lastly, but not leastly, we will have a grab-and-go marketplace where you can pick up convenience items similar to what you do in Heartwood, your specialty yogurts and juices that Jeffrey provides for us, and some other items that matriculate out of the conversations at the food committee and the requests for special things that you may not be able to get yourselves, and we try to keep those in stock. Next slide, please. And again, the bistro. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Again, with the style of dining, while the grill may be opened during a specific time during lunch, you will be able to get something to eat there, either grab or go or prepared in that Panera-like atmosphere all day long. So that if you miss an opportunity somewhere else in our dining venues, you always have a fallback, and you can go to the bistro and grab something quick. It is, as I said, multi-service. We have dine-in and grab-and-go, which we're very familiar with. The grab-and-go interest since the pandemic has not really lessened. We still have a large contingents of folks, for whatever reason, do like to pick up their food and take off with it to do what they need to do with it. So we want to make sure that you have another venue to do that. It will have again, beer and wine, probably slightly different than something you can get elsewhere. Again, a reason to go there. Nathan got that special Merlot or Pinot Noir, and it's only in the bistro, and I like to have that, so I'm going to go over there and have that glass of wine and enjoy the lovely scenery at the terraces on that back deck outside the bistro. The concept of grab and go is exactly that. There'll be things that can be freshly prepared in front of you to take. There will also be pre-prepared salads and sandwiches on display, so that if you're just doing a drive-by, you can grab something to eat and continue on your way, or go sit outside with your food items or your drink items. So a little bit different than what we currently enjoy at Heartwood. So, next slide, please. None of this happens in a vacuum. I should have stressed that in my opening speech, but I am not the best presenter in the world, and I get nervous. So I probably skipped over some important parts. And it's very important that you understand that, again, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. We, as Anita said, we will do some soft openings. We will use our food committee. I'm sure we'll use our caucuses. We will be as inclusive as possible with the interest, and there always is interest in free food at a soft opening. But what that does is give us, again, an opportunity, as Anita said, to use the space, to work out the kinks, to get your creative juices flowing, so that we can have that good rapport that we already enjoy with our food committee, thanks to Jeffrey Collins, who chairs that committee, and we will move forward. Again, flexibility is the key. Nothing that we do when we start full speed in October may resemble what we're actually doing in May of next year, okay? A food program, and I don't like that word, but we use it. A food program that doesn't evolve, it gets stale real easy, especially in a CCRC. You are a captive audience. I certainly understand that, as does the leadership and the people who work in the dining department. So again, keeping things creative, changing things from time to time, listening to your input and trying to adjust and pivot. We can't do all things for all people, but we do work real hard to try to take care of as many things as we can. Because if one person will say, I think I like this, there's probably a couple more that never say anything and would be delighted to see a Reuben-style panini sandwich. Who knows? We will have coffee and conversations around dining, and we already do surveys. You have your We Care Connect surveys that come out, and we will probably augment that as I have done with a food preference service here most recently. So hopefully that gives you an idea of an overview of where we're going. It's deliberately 30,000 feet. Have a lot of work to do, but it's exciting work, and it will go quickly and come together very, very fast. So I'm very excited about it. Again, the work is not mine alone. I have these lovely people here, and I have the best people in the world right here that I'm looking at to get us to the next step and have a really exciting community. I hate to say it, but communities are built around experiences, and we don't do anything without food. You know it, I know it, they know it. Wine and cheese will get you everywhere. You folks, thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of the program.
Wine, cheese, and coffee. It's coming. How many cups have you had today, Richard? I've had 3. All right. So as I shared, we do have some operating services that are going to be moving over into the Terrace building. So just wanted to remind you of that, and then we'll let Leanne speak to the clinic, which is the one that's probably most important to most of you in this room. So as I shared, the social workers will be coming over. Their offices will be more centralized in our campus now. HR will be moving as well, coming up, so folks get the best possible experience whenever they're coming in to apply for jobs here or on board with us. Sales and marketing will be moving over, as will the clinic.
So I'm going to do something off script. Who is excited that our campus is going to be connected? Yay! I'm so excited. I live on the West Coast over in the health center, and I'm ready to get over here fast. So I'm very excited about that. And y'all should all be smiling. This is so exciting. I just can't stand it. So the clinic and provider team are so excited about moving into their permanent new space. We will open the new space ahead of the vast majority of the Terrace residents moving in. We will open for our current residents, all the folks sitting in this room. This may be everybody that lives here, but maybe not. It looks like a lot of people to me. We will open for the current residents, so you all can help us in our soft openings. You can help us experience things that work well, things that maybe are not working well, so that we can pivot and have everything the best it can be in a quality way for each and every one of you here. The residents that are here have been in such support of us through this entire process. The health center, the terraces, we want everything to be in a quality way for you, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
All right, and another hot topic, it's Nathan again, transportation and parking.
Hot topics. What would my parents think? Transportation and parking. Right out of the gate, we will continue the on-campus shuttle. Even though we're connected, as Leanne said, we need to provide the ability to move from the East Coast to the West Coast, and as make it as easy as possible for you. So we will continue the shuttle. We will have increased parking. Notice I didn't say it's all going to be convenient for every one of us, all right? But we will have a far better parking situation now than we had even when I arrived here 9 years ago. We will have increased parking for visitors, increased parking for current residents who want to move about the community to visit people in the health center to come to the terraces. If you live in a cottage, we still have cottage folks who will cut through the apartment building and come through, and that's great. But if you decide you want to drive your car over because of the weather, we'll have more spaces for you to park as you do that. And last but not least, we will also be able to accommodate more staff parking for our team members. So, again, logistically, when we say north, we mean Pickett roadside, okay? So visualize that, because I didn't put a bunch of diagrams up here. I'm going to try to talk you through it and let you use your imagination, okay? So north is Pickett. That is where the main entrance for the terraces and the health center will be. So we have increased visitor parking on the north side. We also have the EF wing, which is the closest apartment to the terraces. We had to juggle some of that parking to accommodate the construction, so that will change slightly as we put the emergency access parking and things back to just regular parking. And for those of you who I actually moved around to the other side of the building, we will have private conversations on whether you want to actually move or not. I'm not going to press it and make you move right out of the gate. That's a personal choice, and we'll talk about that separately, one-on-one. So, the parking decks. Both parking decks are accessed from the south side, which is not Pickett Road. It's the south side that faces 15501, and more importantly, where the ABC store is. So now you're logistically, those of you who visit that. The deck, the zero level, as April said, the zero level parking deck is primarily for visitors, especially frequent flyers who come to visit a lot, or those kind of visitors, and of course for staff. The parking deck above zero level on our first level is for terrace residents. They will each be assigned one space per apartment, just like our other apartments are. And if they have an extra vehicle, they will be asked to park that vehicle on the retaining wall, just as we ask our other apartment dwellers to park their extra cars. The terraces will be required. Those residents will have to have a vehicular identification sticker on their vehicle also. Charles and I are not in agreement on what color that will be. I want pink and he wants black, and I'm not sure if there's somewhere in between there. But at any rate, they will be treated the same. We also have south side parking that will be more accessible, that's been kind of gobbled up during the construction. It's what we used to call the old Olson parking lot, but it's adjacent to the east, that way, to the parking deck. It gives us an opportunity. There was a gray area in between the construction or an existing parking, and it's perfect for us to park our buses and our fleet vehicles without losing any other parking. So that was a nice surprise and a good gift, because that was one area that Charles and I were kind of churning about. Where are we going to put? We have 2 buses. We plan on adding another bus, adding another wheelchair accessible van. Where are we going to put these vehicles? And we have this lovely area that just came out of the ground, so we're excited about that, without using any of our parking spaces for residents, visitors, and staff. And those areas will be open parking for, again, visitors, residents, staff, and our contractors and vendors. The vision is to try to keep contractors, you see their trucks in front of the building and in our visitor parking a lot. We grant some grace because of our construction over the last 3+ years. We're going to have them start parking on the south side in some designated areas. And then if they need access to the building, they can do that on a limited basis and then move their vehicle back. So that's parking in a nutshell. It's great. It's not perfect, but there is more convenient parking, but parking is parking. So we'll continue on. Thanks again.
All right. And while most everyone in this room has already moved in, so maybe you don't care so much, I thought we'd do a brief overview of how we're going to get folks in. I heard a rumor, I love rumors, that we were moving everyone in like you move in the Duke students all in one day, April. You run to their car, you get all their stuff, and then you run it up to their apartment. And I was like, no, absolutely not. But we are going to do it in a short window of time. So just wanted to tell you all about that and what's going on with the moving in process. So we're going to be starting the large cohort on Monday, September 30th. What does that mean? So we learned in the research that we did from another community, Glen Eyre and Cary, who opened a apartment building actually larger than this one. They gave us lots of do's and don'ts, best practice and things like that. And one of the things that they did that they loved the most, they thought was the most successful for them, was that they moved in folks earlier than the large group. That allowed them to test, can a moving truck actually fit here? Does this elevator actually do this? Is our staff prepared at the gate and housekeeping and security and et cetera to test the systems? So we will start, we call them move-in champions. They are folks, some folks are calling them guinea pigs, but I don't call them guinea pigs. They're just great people who are willing and ready to give us some feedback, and they are A-okay if their move-in day doesn't go perfectly. So that will begin in September, and then we'll start with the 5th floor on Monday, September 30th. We will move in 2 apartments per day, 6 days per week. So folks will come in Monday, September 30th through November 12th, and that will be the bulk of the group. We have 59 out of 71 apartments already scheduled to move in. A handful of folks aren't going to move in right away, but they'll come in later. And of course, we couldn't do any of this without the resident marketing committee. So many of my members are here. Just wave your hand. I see you all. They're fantastic. They have created a group of floor champions. So they have divided themselves evenly between the 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd floor. And they are ready and capable to welcome folks, make sure folks are finding their way, provide opportunities for folks to get to know each other, and even something as simple as, how in the heck do I start my microwave? We're here for you. We're going to know how to do all of that. And then we also have the mentor group. Thank you to Rose and everyone. If you're a mentor, wave your hand. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know Rose is also very thankful for everyone that has volunteered to be a mentor. As you yourself, when you moved in and you experienced mentoring, it's a really special thing that our community does for folks as they're moving into the area. The majority of folks are coming from the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area, but we do have some folks coming in from out of town and out of state, so certainly want to be able to welcome them in the best way possible. So thank you so much for doing that too. And with that, we're going to close it up and talk about next steps with Sharon Pitt.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you again for being here. My name is Sharon Pitt. I am the Chief Operating Officer. And before we wrap up, I'd like to recap a few things. Some of it you've already heard, but it bears repeating for the sake of clarity. So I just want to take a few minutes to talk about what's coming next, what to expect after this meeting, and how we'll continue moving forward together. As you may know, several of us on the leadership team are already working closely with a number of resident association committees. These include groups focused on dining, welcoming the new terrace residents, and other important areas. That collaboration is really valuable as we prepare for the opening of the terraces, and it's something that we're committed to continuing. As we move through July and August, here's what's going to happen. We'll be meeting with each of the relevant resident association committees, those connected to the services that will launch with the terraces, and these meetings will help us make sure that we answer questions, receive feedback, and share plans. Once we've completed those committee meetings, we'll start scheduling a series of coffee and conversations. For each topic, whether it's dining or community life or something else, we'll hold 3 sessions so that there's plenty of opportunities for everyone to join, ask questions, and stay in the loop. These will be informal and friendly conversations designed to keep the dialogue going and keep everyone informed. Now, just to set expectations, today was a starting point. We provided a broad overview, knowing full well that more questions would arise as we progressed. That's completely normal, and we prepared for that. We'll continue to clarify and refine the details as the process unfolds. Another major focus for us right now is recruitment. We're spending a lot of time and energy hiring the right people to support the community. We're planning an on-site job fair soon to help bring in new team members, and we'll continue to recruit carefully for each specific function so that all our services are well supported from day one. So to sum it up, the next few months are all about collaboration, communication, 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 and coordination. We'll be working with resident committees, continuing conversations through the coffee and conversation sessions, and building strong teams to support everything ahead. We're really excited about what's coming, and we're grateful, so very grateful, to be doing it together. Thank you again for being here this morning, and I will now open it up for questions.
So just really quickly, just as the questions, it's really important that you wait till the microphone comes to you so that this is being recorded, so that we can make sure that the audio is captured. And then don't get your feelings hurt if we say we're going to note that and put that in a coffee and conversation. We want to keep this broad. We realize you may have some specific questions, but we'll note that down and we'll get that question answered. Okay, who had the mic first? Alice.
What happens with the current space now that will be vacated when human resources and sales and marketing move?
So the question is, what will happen with the current spaces once human resources? So that's just in discussion as we decide where offices will move to use the best space possible. We've definitely put some plans together, but we will fill those spaces with team members appropriately. Nathan. Yes.
Hi, thanks. Excuse me. What is the seating capacity of the Bistro and Greenwoods?
What is the seating capacity of the Bistro and Greenwoods?
Bistro has 46 seats, no large tables, and Greenwoods can be set up to accommodate 36 to 40, and the configuration will have at least one round 6-top, maybe an 8-top.
Will the bistro be open Sunday morning?
Will the Bistro be open Sunday morning? Yes.
Another question for Nathan. From which of the dining facilities will people be able to get food delivered to their homes?
Okay, so the question is, which of the dining facilities will people be able to get food delivered to their homes?
At this point, just Heartwood and Rosewood, if that's what we're doing now. We'll look to expand that with some help with our food committee and kind of dig through that, what that means as far as logistics and having the labor to run it from different venues. So I like the question, though. Thank you.
Are there any plans to restore one or more guest rooms?
So the question is, are there plans to restore any of the guest rooms? So she said the first order of business is to get everyone moved into the terraces, see how we use that space, see how we use that clinic. Anything that we do will require significant renovation.
With respect to the terraces diagram that we have, I noticed there are two routes back from the entry. One of them is a narrow corridor going straight down, and the other one is the exterior walkway to the building. From the conversation we had earlier, it appeared that you're expecting that the main entry is going to be down that broad walkway outside, which brings you down to the reception desk, and that the narrow corridor on the left, that one is going to be reserved for people who have business in those particular offices and not for the main entry. So the people coming in are going to be exposed to the elements, so to speak, driving rains and snow. And that's the main entrance for the terraces from people who are not parked in the parking lot.
So, yes, or it's covered, Ralph. It's not covered on all sides, but it is covered. And again, you can get there from the inside as well. So if you wanted to come in from the main community center and walk over, you could. There's lots of opportunity and access to that building that don't involve getting wet or being cold. Okay?
I'd like to ask how trash is going to be managed coming out of the terraces, and will there be another compactor, or will that all be going to the current compactor?
Trash will be removed by a houseman, a housekeeping tech, similar to what you see in our current apartment buildings. And we will not be adding another compactor. That refuse will travel by cart, just like the health centers, to the compactor closest to Fountain View Lane. It is not near at capacity. At the very least, we may have to have it picked up more than once a week.
This is for Nathan, if he just stay up there.
Hot topics, hot topics.
Will there be an upcharge in Greenwoods?
Not at this point. And when you say upcharge, like we do in Rosewood for the special stuff, it's $12 plus $5. Not right now. But again, we'll unpack that with the food committee as we move closer. Good question.
I have two questions. One is, how is the hiring going for all the new staff that we will need? And the second question is for Leanne Bailey Clayton. I've had to use a Medicare beds several times, more than I would like. And it's been a little hairy sometimes whether there's been a bed available. Are we planning to have any additional Medicare beds in the health center?
So the question is, will we have additional Medicare certified beds in the health center? There has been conversation about that. There's nothing formalized where that is concerned. We do have active contracts with local facilities to assist us should we need an overflow for Medicare. It is very unusual for those beds to be full. And it's more common that those beds are half full or not full at all. So we have been able to do utilization with those. It's also very helpful that we know when someone's going to be discharged. So if someone needs to come to a temporary stay and utilize their prepaid days for a few days until they move in that Medicare bed, I feel like the team's done a really good job with that. And at this point, that is still something that is in discussion. Thank you for that question.
So we've identified all of the positions that we have for hiring. We've been actively recruiting all along, so there are some people that we know that we're going to bring on as we staff for dining, as we staff for extra housekeepers, et cetera. We plan to have on-site job fair as well as off-site in 2 venues. We have a new ad campaign that is going out as well. And the thing is, you don't have to have all of your staff on day one, so we know what we're tiered for and how we're budgeted compared to where the excess, where the focus will be. And so some things are right away, some things come in the first month, some things come in a little bit further in the quarter based on the services that you're finding. But we are comfortable that we have every avenue wide open. We are speaking, people know we are hiring, we've been getting applications in, and we use all of the tools that we have at our disposal. Thank you.
Yes, what about the security in the parking deck? Will level 0, for example, require a fob or something to get up to the floors?
Level 0, excuse me, level 0, which is for primarily staff and visitors, will not require a fob to get in.
What about?
Excuse me. The second resident level will have fob access protected by a large chain link garage door looking apparatus. And that will work similar to the main gate. You'll have a transponder, so as you pull up to it, if it is closed, it will open.
I was really referring to the elevator access to both the main floors and the residential floors.
The elevator will be protected by fob and kiosk at this point, unless we modify that decision as we learn to use the space.
Can you indicate what the capacities are of the 3 new meeting rooms in the terraces, the boardroom, the Carolina room, and the forest room?
So the capacity, the specific capacity for the boardroom, liken that to the party room. It's going to be used in the same avenue. We'll have the same technical capacities. And for the forest room, liken that to this room as far as capacity and technical abilities and how we use this room. Carolina room, it's very similar to the living room, more comfortable chairs. So similar in just a kind of a casual seating atmosphere.
You said the clinic would have a soft opening. Is there a projected date for the opening of the clinic?
So I'm waiting for April. So the question is, when will the soft opening be for the clinic? And the answer to that is April's going to tell me when we can do that. That's the answer.
April, can you tell us?
So Judy, we don't want to give a projected date because then that carries forward and becomes, people get confused and, oh, I thought they said it was this date, et cetera. We're waiting on our certificate of occupancy, right? And so once that's in place, we will be making those plans for that opening. Leanne has assured us they'll do it in a weekend, so no services will be disrupted, but we will give you guys plenty of notice and you will know when that happens.
And I have a question for Nathan. The handicap parking, I noticed it's on the street outside of the parking deck. There are handicap spaces now. Will there be handicap parking inside the garage or the deck, parking deck?
Yes, there will be handicap parking inside the deck and of course out on the street.
Okay.
Is the new fitness studio supplementary to the existing one, and you're going to, or is it, are you going to close the old one and just move it down?
Oh, definitely not closing the current one. It'll be supplementary.
Oh, right over here. Will the auditorium and the Carolina room be connected so that if you have a live performance in the auditorium, but it's overflow like today, people can sit in the Carolina room and still participate in some way?
So that's the major question we get is, what about large capacity events? So we'll manage that in a couple of ways. One, notice right now we have a lot more seating that will become available once we have our storage rooms back. So we'll have that whole back section. But we'll be able to live stream into, say, the forest room, the other large room, when we have, whether it's an RA quarterly meeting, an executive staff update, whatnot. Another thing that we will do is for anticipated large concerts or programs, we will offer those multiple times. So we may have a concert at 4 and the same concert repeating at 7. So given Nathan's dining hours, you can choose to do the 4 o'clock concert and then go to dinner, or you can go to dinner and come to the 7 o'clock concert. So, because one of the things we hear all the time is, why at 7? I don't want to go to something at 7. I want to go to bed. And then I hear, why do we not have anything at night? I want to go at 4. So we're going to knock that out of the park, and we're just going to do both. And then that way everybody's happy. So.
Hi, when the clinic opens, will the dentist and the auditory services return, or they will come at a later date?
So say that, will the dentist?
Yeah, we
and
have the dentist based here and the auditory services, but they come back once the clinic is.
So the question is, will the dentist and the auditory services come back once the clinic is back into the new space?
So in the clinic, I apologize, didn't mention that we do have a dental suite that is in the clinic at the end of the hallway. And so they will return to on-site appointments. And then we will also, well, our auditory services have not gone away, but they will continue.
Will there be an access on the south side of TFAD for pedestrian travel to the little plaza that runs along? Thank you.
The question is, will there be access for pedestrian travel on the south side? And the answer is yes.
Hi. What about Sunday evening dining? Will that be available anywhere?
The question is, what about Sunday evening dining?
Currently, we project that would be in the bistro.
Is the main gate, as it exists now, going to stay as it exists now with, 100 more residents and their families? And will there be any other vehicular access?
The question is concerning the main gate, and will it continue to exist as it does now with the anticipation of more residents, families, and guests?
I noticed when I visited friends in the medical center that sometimes there was a very long wait.
So the main gate will continue as it is. If we need the opportunity to grow, we will. Fountain View Lane, over time, will become available for the terrace residents and the resident population in general. What we don't and what we will manage is vendors and team members using the Fountain View Lane. And I've had a project in my back pocket for quite some time, just waiting for the time to trigger it, and we'll be triggering that also. So Fountain View Lane, while it doesn't have a security presence there, it is fob access, so if you choose to use that entrance, you could.
Are you going to be hiring an extra nurse or more CNAs in the medical center?
The question is, will we be hiring more nurses or CNAs in the medical center?
We're not expanding services, but we are hiring an additional respond nurse for the hours of 11 to 7, so that person is there 7 days a week to do the first respond, and then, so we're not pulling a nurse off the health center as we currently do. But if there is a second incident, then at the same time, we have the other respond nurse embedded. So it's really 1.2 FTEs of a nurse able to do an assessment in an apartment for a respond call. And that's from 11 to 7. Otherwise, and that's based on our traffic patterns and what we have seen for incidents and when those calls occur. So that's where we are.
I have a clinic question. I presume you must have asked the doctors what they want in terms of design and how it's equipped. are they going to get what they want?
So the question is about the clinic, and did we ask the doctors what they want, and are they going to get it?
Thank you, Mr. Thompson, for that question. So the question is, the providers, are they getting what they feel like is acceptable in terms of the clinic and the functions and services that they provide? The answer is yes. So we did engage with them. The service model that we had in our prior clinic was certainly suitable, and there was not an exceptional amount of change that needed to happen where that was concerned. Having an entrance and an exit, we found during the pandemic, was very important. And so we will have 3 exam rooms and all of the efficiencies that we need for the physicians as well as our residents there. Thank you.
Dining capacity question. What you're thinking about how to handle the special meals like July 4th and Sunday brunch?
The question was, how do we, from a dining aspect, plan on handling special events like July 4th? And what was the other one? Oh, brunch. As with Sarah, we will look at multiple opportunities to do things at different venue times. We also have a whole nother forest room, so we theoretically could do 2 different parties and 2 different styles of dining, and you pick your poison, and we go from there. Again, that's something that I will unpack with the food committee and see what we can do that makes sense, especially during the holidays, and that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it because they will be on us immediately. Good question. Thank you.
One last question right here.
Yes.
Will compensation levels for new housekeepers be similar to that of existing housekeepers? And if not, if they have to be higher, will they be increased for existing housekeepers?
And the question is, if it has to be higher for new employees, will you retroactively go back? We have a compensation policy. We have a starting rate, a mid-range, and a highest range. It is based on experience. Nobody who works in housekeeping who starts at less than 15, and so that's where it will be. So we don't do artificial wage compression. So you come in at your start. If that's where you start, we're able to recognize experience and have a range to work with. So it's not just like if you show up this day and you've never done it, you might make this. If you show up this day and you've been doing this for 28 years, we have an opportunity and an ability within our compensation policy to recognize that and to pay for that experience.
Do you foresee any problem with the congestion of getting into the level where the terrace people will be parking because they come in with where you go also to the clinic, and lots of times that's backed up and they have to come up the same way and go out the same way? Do you see any problem with them getting through that door and getting out that door?
That's not their entrance.
Where's the entrance for the upstairs? Where's the entrance?
If I understood the question, and maybe that, let me rephrase that. Are we concerned about traffic through the front entrance for the clinic and the terraces with the resident traffic coming in and out? Did I get that right?
The parking garage. Where do the residents enter to park? Is
The-
there only one entrance for that parking?
There is only one entrance to that parking deck. It is on the south side.
Right, and it will
is
compete with the
just for.
clinic.
It is just for that parking deck. It will not compete with the lower level.
But with the clinic?
No, the
I
clinic
mean,
is
not the
on the
clinic,
north side.
excuse me, with the health center. I'm sorry.
No, it will not compete with the health center. It is its own private driveway, and the south entrance of the health center